Hey, it's me, and welcome to Trump Mafia. Now, I'm going to talk about two subjects. One is Bill Clinton, who says he had sex with 2,000 girls, and the other subject is BREXIT, okay? Britain leaving the European Union. What a dynamic combo. So first, okay, this Bill Clinton, according to like a longtime sex friend, they were watching TV or whatnot, and Will Chamberlain reported to have sex with 20,000 women during his long career. And Bill Clinton told his long-term sex friend, wow, he had 10 times more than I had, which I guess comes around to 2,000. Now, of course, I call bullshit right away, because I have no doubt that Bill Clinton is a kind of sex addict or pervert, but more in the sense of a Bill Cosby, where Bill Cosby is not getting a lot. He married an old bag, and he's not getting, he doesn't have that attraction. I mean, he would try to charm girls, and they would laugh in his face. So he has to pick little girls and give them drugs, and then he can dominate them. So it's not really about having sex. It's more about him dominating helpless victims. It's not exactly the same as sex addiction. It's more a criminal type behavior. With Bill Clinton, I do think he may be addicted to sex or addicted to sleazy type of women, and mainly that's because his mom was like that. And there's something left over about that. If you look at the pictures of his mom, she was a real sleazy looking slut. And it seems that he's really chasing that type. So who knows what goes on in this guy's head, but he also hooked up and got married to this old, disgusting Hillary. Ugly body and just terrible. That cackle. How can you live with something like that? I mean, Google some pictures of Hillary in the 70s and 80s and you will barf. Okay, disgusting. So it's not like he's a rock star or a hoop star like Will Chamberlain, where you travel to new cities all the time and there's lots of girls there that went especially to have sex with you. And you're always staying in hotel rooms every night in different cities. Okay, it's very easy to rack up a large total. But Bill Clinton is not always free, and there's not a horde of women exactly wanting to have sex with a governor or whatnot. No matter how awesome Bill Clinton thinks he is. Now, the thing that comes with sex addiction, and I know because I'm speaking from experience, of course you will have a lot of sex. You will have lots of sex friends, like regulars, and you have girls asking you out for a date, and it's hard to say no. But you will always embellish. If you're a sex addict, you feel like even though you're getting a lot more than other people, you always feel like you still have to embellish it, maybe to impress others, maybe to impress yourself, or maybe you're talking about what you wish. So when a sex addict is giving the total, and it's 20,000, maybe it's 10,000, maybe it's 5,000. You just don't know. In the case of Will Chamberlain, I'm very sure it's in the thousands, okay? I have no doubt. But with Bill Clinton, of course it's not going to be 2,000. Maybe 100, maybe 200. I mean, that's already a lot for someone like him in his position. And he's a little bit similar to Bill Cosby, where he is stuck with the woman he's married to, and then he has to use his position of power, and he targets really silly women or sleazy women, and he rapes others. So you're talking about someone who has sex addiction, but he's not getting an easy supply. Okay, he has to fabricate it, and he has to force it, just like Bill Cosby. Now, Will Chamberlain, he shows up in Detroit to play a game, and he's staying at the Hilton, and there's 5, 6 women just there at the reception already. I mean, you can have 3 in one night if you wanted to. And then you have lots of games the whole year. And you have a new season every year. And that's not even talking about all your free time and all the sponsor trips and whatnot. Okay, so there's a huge difference. So of course Bill Clinton didn't have sex with 2,000 women. He just wishes. And if you see this idiot going on the Lolita Express, I mean, we're talking about prostitutes, okay, basically. And it's sad. It's obviously someone who has not gotten his fill in his life. And he has this frustration. Now, there's something I want to say about sex addiction. And I don't know if anyone out there has the problem. And I used to have that. And I always think about the law of diminishing returns. You know, if you're imagining eating M&Ms, you know, like you have a huge bowl full of M&Ms. The first M&Ms, great, fantastic. But then if you're forced to eat the whole bowl, at the end you will be throwing up a disgusting goo because it's crap. And you're thinking, wow, this is not very appetizing. This is not fun. Okay, I'm not getting any enjoyment. And one more M&M, it's really going to make me throw up. And it's similar. If you start, you know, saying yes all the time and you're having lots of sex, you start to realize also that you're diminishing yourself, you're diminishing just the act of getting to know someone or to have sex. It becomes like going to the bathroom. I mean, there's nothing special about it. So imagine, okay, you don't eat M&Ms every day and certainly not a whole bowl, but you just relish it more. So less is more. I always believe that. And I also remember one girl, she asked me after sex. I mean, she was sweet and not so experienced, but you know, with some people it just clicks and you have an amazing sex, and it's one of those girls that climaxes quite easily. You know, it's not like you have to be there for 2 hours. I mean, really, you can have like amazing sex like you would see in incredible movies, and wow, it's so passionate, and it's really like that. So she asked me how many girls I had before her, and I was still stupid because I actually answered, and I said, and she never talked to me again after that. And I called her one time and she said, can you please never call me again? And I was like, wow, next time don't ask, what the hell. And so now if anyone asks me, then I'm like, well, not so many or whatnot. Give some excuse. Don't ever give girls the real number. But what you realize also is that if you have a compulsion, it's a weakness of the mind. And so for me, someone like Bill Clinton is weak-minded. It seems Bill Clinton and Bill Cosby are very similar. They have this compulsion, they have a need, and they don't have the perfect way to reach it. Maybe they're not, you know, the rock star or whatnot, but they each use their quote-unquote celebrity to fabricate and force what they want. So you're never going to rack up a big total, trust me. So, okay, the guy cheated a lot, he raped a lot of women, but I'm guessing it's 100, maybe 200. Not many more. Let's say tops 300. Tops. Now, let's talk about Brexit. Now, you know, Britain leaving the European Union, for me, it's as important as the collapse of the USSR, the Soviet Union. It is an amazing event if it happens. If Britain really leaves the EU, it will be like the Return of the Jedi, the scene with Ewoks celebrating and stuff, because it is a defeat of a communist slash Europe system where you have a commission and it's so dehumanizing and it's anti-sovereignty and it's destroying the various cultures in Europe. You know, you always think about Europe like you have the Big Ben in London and bowler hats and the Beatles and the Union Jack, and you have France and you have the Eiffel Tower and baguettes and some idiot wearing a beret, and you have mimes on the street, stuff like that. And in Germany you have goose-stepping Nazis. Oh no, wait, they have other stuff too. But each country in Europe, it's like their own little culture, and it's so cute. But the European Union is kind of mixing it all up and then importing lots of people from the Middle East and Africa, and it becomes this giant mush controlled by this communist commission in the European Union. And countries don't have their sovereignty and they're losing their culture. And it's so disgusting. And that is a kind of super communist state. And so the USSR falls, but then you see the rise of this communist Europe system, the EU, and it really is that. You know, it was a fake out to call it the common market, and then it was a couple of countries, and it's just about free trade, you know, just like NAFTA. But then the next step is to import people from other countries, and you have this mingling, opening borders, destroying sovereignty. And doesn't that sound like what's happening in the United States right now? Socialists will always move in that direction. Obama is no exception. So it's not a surprise that Bill Clinton and Obama and a lot of these socialists in Europe are really about, Britain has to stay, or Britain will explode, or whatever they're saying. It's pathetic. You know, when socialists and communists get desperate, it's so pathetic. Unbelievable. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm thinking Britain will leave the EU. I really hope so. If it happens, it will be one of the most important things that happens in the world for the last 30, 40 years. In fact, it's one of the very important things of the last 100 years, because it's the beginning of the end for the European Union. And I, for one, will be celebrating